Hi guys. So I am a big fan of roasted vegetables. I think it just makes my week so much easier. And I thought I would just show you guys kind of a compilation of some of the roasted vegetables that I've done over the past couple of months. So in this batch, I've got some squash and some mushrooms, some red peppers, some parsley. So basically what I do on every batch is I'll just cut up the veggies and coat them with some olive oil and throw in some spices, usually keeping it pretty basic, like salt and pepper, some parsley if I'm feeling colorful. Put them in the oven for about 400 for about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the veggies. So this has some Brussels sprouts in it, some corn and squash, some mini sweet peppers, and you can always decide how roasted you want your veggies. If you just want them steamed, you can totally do that, or you can leave them in a little bit longer until they get kind of a golden brown, so they look a little more roasted. And this has a foot of my cat Timmy. He's always got to check stuff out. So these are some Brussels sprouts and onions and mushrooms. So whenever I'm roasting up some veggies, and it includes mushrooms, I try to leave them as whole as possible. If they're really big mushrooms, I'll just cut them in half. But the mushrooms really cook down during the roasting process. So here is how long it took to roast these, about 40 minutes. And in this batch, I've got some eggplant and some kale and some squash. The kale works really well for roasting. I've tried to roast spinach in the past, and the spinach just wilts and it's just a mess. But the kale is firm enough and tough enough that it roasts really well, and the kale gets crunchy, so it's kind of a neat little texture. And this is some squash. I forget the name of the squash, quite honestly. Butternut squash, maybe. But when you do those big squashes that are really, round and hard, I just put in some olive oil and then I'll flip them over onto the baking sheet for the actual roasting. And that makes it so they kind of get really cooked and really done. And these are some red peppers and onions and eggplant. Got some mushrooms. I'm a big fan of the mushrooms. So my favorite thing about this method is you just cut them up and you put them in the oven and then you just walk away. You don't really have to check on them much. If you're looking for a certain amount of browned, you might want to check them, as they get closer. But I've done this so many times, they are just super easy. You turn on the oven, you put them in the oven, and you can basically do whatever you want for about 30 minutes. So it's not like having to put the veggies in the skillet and having to monitor it closely. So this is one of my, it's a low impact activity for my week. So less time in the kitchen. As much as I enjoy food, less time in the kitchen is what I love. Just make it as easy as possible. And I do like to do some food prep for the week to cut down on my costs, but I still don't want to spend the whole weekend in the kitchen. Most of my cooking happens on the weekend because when I get home at night, I am not cooking. It's just not going to happen. And another thing that I really love is you can really mix it up. If you love mushrooms, always put in the mushrooms. If you love onions, you can put in some onions. You can, kind of vary your vegetables. I always think that I need more greens because I'm not a big green fan. So, put in some kale, 1 week, and maybe some Brussels sprouts the next. And it seems like lately what I've been hearing is you need colors. Make sure you're having lots of colors. So greens and orange and yellow. Make sure you're getting in a good variety of your vegetables for your overall health. So, and I like how you don't really need a recipe. Just put in whatever seems good to you, whatever you enjoy. So, and with these vegetables, you can mix them up with some noodles or some rice. It can be a side dish or it can be part of a main dish. There's just so many, options, after you get all your vegetables just roasted. So I think this is a really good way to really make your work week just a little bit easier. And who doesn't need an easier work week? The last thing I want to do during my week is worry about vegetables and, my health, and just make it as easy as possible. Make it easy to eat right or try to eat right. We all try. So this could be just another thing to help your healthy habits really to take a good foothold. And I hope everybody found something interesting and maybe some ideas for beefing up your work week and your food prep. And thank you everybody for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe and please hit that like button if you don't mind. And I hope that you have a great week.